Alright, so this one right here is the Nothing CMF Phone 1, and today we will do a full tour of this amazing smartphone, but like always, let's start with the unboxing. So on the phone box, we have one Nothing CMF Phone 1, there is a USB Type-C cable and a quick starting guide, which comes with the QR code. And as for last, there is of course the SIM pin to remove the SIM card. Alright, up to the specs and the design. And you have to know that you can grab this phone in a couple of different colors. Now there's a black version, orange, and this light green. But the fancy part about this phone is that you can actually change between these colors anytime you want to. You can actually buy a new back cover or a case, unscrew the screws, and replace the back side. So this is something very unique, and I have never seen this on any other smartphone. Now you have to know that this phone costs 200 euros over here in Germany, and it's my favorite one that you can get at this price point. Now this phone is very similar to the iPhone 15 Pro Max when it comes to the weight and the size. So you have a 6.67 inch display and it weighs in at roughly 200 grams. So if you don't have deep pockets, this phone will get a sniff of fresh air. Now overall, you can expect to get a full plastic smartphone, at least when it comes to the light green and the black version. The backside of these versions also feel very smooth with a very paper-like touch to it. Plus, and that's what I like the most, is that you don't get any fingerprints on the backside. Just the orange version will come with a vegan leather back. You have a dual camera setup with a 50 and 2 megapixel camera, which are built into a little metallic case. By the way, the CMF Phone 1 is also IP52 water and dust resistant, and you also have a pre-installed screen protector as well. Now over to the display and the audio. So like I said, you have a huge 6.67 inch AMOLED display with full HD. It's 2400 by 1080 pixel with some very nice visuals, nice details, and good colors. And it even supports HDR10 plus video streaming. Now the CMF 1 phone is not the brightest, with a peak brightness of about 2000 nits in the auto mode. That's enough for most of the time, but sometimes it can get a little bit hard to read your messages and you might have to twist your phone to see a little bit more of your display. This phone also scales up to 120 Hz, which I love to see on such a budget smartphone, but you can also trim down if you feel like saving a little bit of your battery life. But when it comes to the audio, I guess that's where you notice that you have a budget smartphone, as you only have a mono speaker and no stereo speaker action. When it comes to the battery life, you have a big 5000 mAh battery, which is crammed inside of this phone, which will give you about 8 hours of screen time, and that's with a lot of video streaming action. I use the camera quite a bit and a few more things. So actually quite good, and just as good as most other budget smartphones with that kind of battery. Now the charging speed of the CMF Phone 1 is actually pretty decent. You get 33 watt wired charging, which is normal for a budget smartphone with a few exceptions, and you even have 5 watts reverse wired charging, but no wireless and no reverse wireless charging on the smartphone. Let's check out some of the features and the Nothing OS. So this phone runs on Nothing OS 2.6 based on Android 14 of course, and you get 2 years of OS updates and full 3 years of security updates. Then you will also get your usual fingerprint sensor, which is underneath the display, and in most situations it works just fine, but if you have some wet or some greasy fingers, this one can get a little bit hard to work. But in that case, you also have your face detection, and this one works very good. Now you can grab this phone with either 128 or 256 gigs of internal storage, and if you take a peek into the storage settings, you will see that about 17 gigs are already used up by the system, which is pretty much normal. But the good part is that you can even expand the storage via an extra micro SD card, but it takes away your second SIM slot. And yeah, no eSIM support on over here. A small but cool feature is that you can customize your status bar. That little bar on top of the display with a bunch of icons. Now this one is customizable and you can add some more icons to it, like your internet speed, battery percentage, or you can get rid of some like your Bluetooth status and the D&D symbol. Then you will get some wallpapers. First, when you set up your phone, you can decide between the normal Android look or the Nothing OS look, and then you can change the colors of your icons. You can change the app grid from 4 to 5 apps, and then you get a whole lot of Nothing OS wallpaper styles and different colors. But you can also customize it with the power of AI, which means you can mix and match 2 different wallpaper styles and you can get your own style out of it. One thing you have to know right quick about the display is that you have no always in display mode available, and you also have no NFC, which is probably the biggest reason why I would not get this phone. On the CMF Phone 1, you got your usual safety and emergency features, like you have your emergency SOS, car crash detection, crisis, and earthquake alerts. You also have your digital well-being and also parental controls, which adds a content restriction and sets other limits to help your child balance their screen time. When it comes to the performance, you have the MediaTek Dimensity 7300 stuffed in here, which you will also find in a lot of other smartphones like the Moto Razr 50. So you can get this smartphone with either 8 gigs of RAM here in Germany, and most games run fluently on the debugger. If it's PUBG, some racing games, and even Genshin Impact can be played on here, even though you can play it on the highest graphics settings. You should scale the resolution down to about medium to low settings, and even then you won't have 60 FPS, but it's more than good enough to have a good gaming experience with just about no lags at all, and even after playing a long time, this phone won't get that hot. Now the CMF Phone 1 also has a small game booster with a performance mode, which comes at the cost of your battery life of course. You can block calls and a few more things, but it's really just some basics compared to other game boosters from other smartphones. Alright, let's finish this up with the cameras. So you have a dual camera setup on the backside. There is one 50 megapixel main camera, but no OIS, which is a bummer, and you will need some steady hands for your videos and pictures. The other camera is a 2 megapixel depth camera, and you can take videos in 4K resolution, but only with 30 FPS. But on the front you have a 60 megapixel selfie cam, which can shoot videos in only 1080p and 30 FPS. So certainly not the best. As for the camera modes, you get your usual portrait mode. There is a time-lapse, panel and expert mode in which you can tweak the white balance, shutter speed and all of that stuff. And then when you head back to the normal photo mode, you can change the quality of the pictures. By default it is set to 12 megapixel, but you can also boost it up to 50 megapixel. And then there's also two different photo modes. There's this natural photo mode and there is a vivid mode, which is making the colors look more poppy but also a little bit unrealistic. So I tested the camera in the default photo mode, which most of us would probably use, and you can say that the pictures come out good. You have a good balance, the pictures don't look super saturated, but colors also don't look pale, and even if you take photos in ambient conditions, they come out decent as long as the subject is not moving like my cats, which seem to never sit still. Also, the portrait mode is very decent with a good background blur, and the selfie cam is doing a good job as well. If it's the selfie portrait mode or your normal camera in strong or in low light situations. Definitely better than most other budget smartphones in that price range. And guys, there we have it. That's the Nothing CMF Phone 1. Now, like always, I will leave the link to the product down below in the description. Also, if you like the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more tech reviews. And I guess with that one being said, I will see you in the next one. Peace.